One thing that I believe that um, whenever I've felt, and some of you might feel sometimes like the weight of the world is on your shoulders, and things don't seem to be working, or you feel that frustration, maybe anxiety because you need to make this business work, or something in your life, your relationship life is not working the way you want or need, or these types of things that really can fill your brain with stuff. And and I get it because it happens to me also. It's like, why am I not further ahead than where I'm at? Why? You start asking a lot of these why questions, and there's always a reason for it. And it's fine to take blame. Like sometimes we are really good at taking responsibility. I mean, that's really the first thing, right? Is taking responsibility for the things that are not going right in your life. I'm all for that because a winner takes responsibility for where they're at, you know. But having said that, taking responsibility does not mean that you beat yourself up over it, that you know you dwell on the fact that, yeah, I got myself into this situation. And to dwell on that is not a positive thing, okay, because you keep getting down on yourself and getting down on yourself, and you think, man, I just really suck, Lord, how come you're not answering my prayer? It's um that feeling of despair, right? That feeling of despair that we can fall into. And I think that when I find myself in that kind of funk, and it happens to everybody, the one thing that Andy Albright's taught me is that I need to dwell on what I can do in my situation. A winner will take responsibility, but also a winner will think, what do I need to do? What do I rationally need to do to overcome this emotion of despair? And if we stay in that state of despair, that's it keeps us down, it keeps you, and I believe the enemy uses that tool of keeping us in despair as a weapon against us stepping out on faith. The thing about getting yourself out of that despair situation is that you cannot wait for you to feel like you're ready to get going, right? It's when you start making decisions based on feelings, that's when you really limit yourself with what you can do with the power that God gave you, which is the end of your own arm, your phone, and your ability to dial, and your ability to work, right? And our ability to work, regardless of how we feel, is the power, honestly, that we have to overcome all the junk. And when we break down what is really making us feel like this, it's usually one or two things. It's not everything, right? Everything seems to be coming down all at once. But in fact, it's not everything. It's not. Andy is really good at saying, okay, dude, let's break it down. What is it really? Okay, what is it that you are concerned about? And sometimes it's a hard thing to really center on what it is that's really bugging you. That's why people pay therapists to help them figure out what is that thing that's keeping you, holding you back, and bugging you. And it's really the thing that maybe sometimes you don't really realize. Ultimately it's everything else seems to be a reflection of the one thing, but when it is just the one thing, it could be a bad relationship that you keep dwelling on, or it could be just financial pressure, and you're not really focusing on, what is it that one thing. And so when you break down all the problems you think that you're having, and like break it down to this one thing, what is really bugging you? What is your emotional reaction to? And then you isolate it to that one thing. And if you break down all the things that you need to do, the things that are driving you crazy, and you just list them out. So one thing is identifying that which is on your mind, right? And I find that when I write down all the things that, I can write down 10 things, but when I look at them all, it's usually one or two that's really, really, really bugging me. And how you know this is when you list them all out, and then if you could take one thing away, how would that make you feel if you took that one thing away, right? And you can do that with all of them. You're going to find that the one thing is the one thing, right? And when you can focus on understanding that one thing for you, then everything just kind of like, oh, that's the thing, right? That is it. And then what do I need to do to remove that fear, that stress, that anxiety? Because everything has a solution, right? I'm a big solution guy. I always try to find what's broken and I like to fix it. Like my family knows I will look for things, whether it's something on a car that I want to fix or something in the house or whatever. If I find something that's broken, I'm Mr. Fix It. If there's something broken on my guitars, I'll do everything I can. I'm just that way. I want to fix things. And everything has a solution. Everything has a way to fix it. God has given you the opportunity to fix whatever it is. And sometimes it's just acting on faith. And then the things you can't fix, which could be a source of frustration, like there's nothing you can do to control someone else, right? There is only so much you do, no matter how much you love them and how much you hurt for them and how much you want to see them get better. You can't control everything, right? Only thing you can do is control your attitude and your action, right? Your attitude and your action. How do I react to that which I cannot control? And then that will determine everything, man. It doesn't mean that you feel any less hurting for that person or that empathy you have for the person or that situation you can't control. But all you can control is what you can control. Okay, how you react to it. Like you still need to pay your bills. You still need to, fill in the blank. And that's what you have to do. So you have to put a priority, regardless of how you feel. And no matter how much that person or that thing is on your mind, you'll always be forever. As you think about it, you'll start feeling it. You know what I'm talking about. And so Andy's always said to me, okay, let's change what you think about. Let's change what you think about. Easier said than done, right? It's like, stop it. Stop thinking about that. Because if you stop thinking about it, you stop feeling as much about it. You know, when you obsess over something you can't control, it will forever keep you doing nothing. Okay. The only way that you can, in my life, that I've been able to get out of a funk is not wait to feel like I need to get out of the funk, is to put the work in and to put my mind on my work, put my mind on the things I can control, man. And then when I can do that and I start digging my way out of the emotional hole is always done through work, the work that I can control, the work that keeps my mind off things, right? That is the way that I'm able to get myself out of the funk I'm in, right? So Alex, what helps you get started? The thing, it's really weird, because I had never really done this until, maybe it was 10 years ago when I started, when they say count your blessings, okay? Count your blessings. I always just thought that was some trite cute little thing that people do. And, it's kind of like counting sheep when you're trying to fall asleep. I've never been able to fall asleep counting sheep. I don't know what that's about. But I kind of put in that same category, counting sheep and counting your blessings. And then I was like in a funk. I don't know exactly what it was. Typically, if it's Andy Albright challenging me against someone else, that puts me in a funk when he says, dude, this person's smoking your butt. And then the competitive part of me kicks in, which is a mega negative emotion for me, is when he starts to pit me up against another manager. The competitive part of me is real negative, and it brings out the worst in me because when I look at competing, I look at crushing the other person, like it creates some negative feelings against that person. And then I want to see them lose as much as I want to see myself win. Okay. And I've been working through that a long time. Okay. And so that puts me in a funk because I know how unchristian it is to want someone, see someone be crushed and me winning as a result of them being crushed. It's not positive, right? It puts me in a funk. And so that's typically what does it to me. And so I start thinking about what am I thankful for? Thanksgiving's coming up. But I think we need to feel grateful all the time. We need to count our blessings all the time, particularly when we're feeling a funk. When we think about the problem of comparison, like we compare ourselves to other people that are successful, we compare ourselves. The comparison thing can be real negative on both sides. Like, oh man, I'm kicking butt over that person. That's a negative thing because then that's ego related. That's prideful. Pride comes before the fall. That's a prideful thing. That's a negative thing. I always think, well, what gets me into the mode of really putting myself into action is listing out the things I'm grateful for. It is counting my blessings and actually writing it down. It's one thing to think about it. When you start writing down, what am I grateful for in my life, right? Typically for me, it's like, I'm grateful for my wife. She keeps me grounded. She has overcome cancer. She inspires me. She edifies me. She lifts me up, right? And I see what she does to support our family and, birthing 5 children. Oh my gosh. If I ever want to be grateful, it's like, thank God I'm not a woman. The female sex is the stronger sex. Okay. Clearly, you ever had your spouse going through birth and you're there, clearly, I would die. That kind of thing would kill me. Okay. So clearly God knew what he was doing when he made a woman, right? I'm thinking about, she birthed my 5 children. She's been my helpmate. She's been supporting me, and I write down my wife and then my children, my 5 kids. It's like, golly, man. I think about, my daughter Zoe, my son Athen, my daughter Maddie, my son Nick, and then my daughter Isabel. They all have their thing, their positives and negatives, but man, I wouldn't trade them for the world, as I know you wouldn't for your children, right? I think about how blessed I am to have the children I have. Some of them have issues, right? They all have their thing, but I'm grateful for them anyway, and all I can do is put them in the Lord's hands when they're trying to make major decisions in their life, or they're doing things that aren't positive in their life, right? I can only do so much and influence them so much. After a certain point, they're in God's hands. And all I can do is pray and pray and pray. And I know for my life, I think a lot of the reason why I'm where I'm at today is my mother consistently praying for me, and rosary after rosary, novena after novena, offering mass up for me. Like, man, I attribute a lot of that through prayer, and so when I can pray for my children, that's the most I can do. It's not the least I can do, pray for my kids. It's the most important thing I can do. And I'm grateful for my family. And I know you guys are too. But I have to remember that. I got to remember I'm in my life, man. What is blessed with a great wife, awesome children. Sometimes I don't have to go further than that, right? But then I'll keep going. Like if I got a momentum, I'm going to write down, I'm grateful for a business where I can be independent, where I can earn income to support my family. But you know what? I'm more grateful that I can make some kind of impact on lives out there, whether it's a video I put out there for public view, and maybe I've helped someone that I don't know about. I've gotten feedback from people from around the world, actually. I have a guy in Australia that has benefited from my videos, and he corresponded with me, and I'm like, wow, that's so cool. I have no idea who's going to watch it. I see all these views, and I'm thinking, Lord, I hope that you bless the people that watch my videos, that I hope you bless them, because I don't care about any kind of override. I care about the override that I get in heaven. So I'm just grateful that I can put stuff out there that can help people. I'm grateful in a business where I can serve, that maybe I can make an impact in your life, not only financially, but maybe help you kind of think about more about your mission that God gave you to be on this earth, right? To help you realize that you can impact so many other people by what you do, by your clients that you serve. I think about Karen, all the stuff she does for her clients. Like, thank God that somehow, some way, that she got in touch with these people. These people got in touch with her because she's blessed their lives in so many ways that now they don't have to worry about retirement. They don't have to worry about things that they were worried about before, the risk that they have their money in these products that maybe aren't working for them. And she's there to bless them with her support and service. I think, man, what a blessing that is to find agents like Karen that can go out there and help people like that. And, you know, sometimes I forget how Karen and I got together, but I'm like grateful for that. I'm grateful for all of you that somehow I can be some kind of meaningful, specific in your life to help you, and I hope I can, maybe I don't. I pray that I always find some way that, that I can make an impact, but I'm grateful for a business where I can do that for you, for people that I bring on. Always pray that the Lord sends me the right people to come in my business and that I can help them. I can really help them. And even if they're only with me for a few weeks, a few months, a few years, that I've at least made some kind of impact where they can find the other thing that God has put in front of them to do that will impact their lives in a positive way. Maybe I had something to do along the way to help move them down that direction. Look, man, I would like everyone to stay with me, but if that's not God's will for you, then I hope I can make an impact at short time or long time or whatever time you're here with me. I don't look at, I look at maybe the eternal impact, more than anything else. But I'm grateful for a business like that. I'm grateful for those of you that call me for advice and seek counsel and help. I don't take that lightly. I think of that as, gosh, I'm just so, every time I get a call from you, I say a prayer in my head, my heart. It's like, Lord, help me help this person. Give me the words to give to this person, to help them, to edify them, to give them wisdom that you put in my brain, all the things that I've experienced in the business. I always pray for wisdom when I counsel you, when I encourage you. Sometimes I'll get the nudge to reach out to you and say, hey, so how things going? And it's just, those things I don't take for granted either. But it's something I'm grateful for that, sometimes I get the earth, the Holy Spirit nudge to call you and to reach out to you. And I probably ought to do that more, And as I list these things down, it's like, wow, we live in a country where we're able to have the freedoms that we can worship where we want to worship, and we can pray where we want to pray. Because a lot of people around the world don't have that. People are getting persecuted because they believe in something important. It's like those, I was reading on Facebook, there was this martyrs, these Coptic Christians that were being slaughtered by Al-Qaeda, I think, or ISIS, and they had to profess not to believe in Jesus. And they all were beheaded. There was like 14 of them. And actually in the Coptic church, these are, they were venerated as saints because they died for their faith. I mean, think about it. You can go to church or you cannot go to church, which is kind of crazy. There are people that would die going to fellowship with other Christians that are putting their lives on the line when they do. You have to just get up, get your butt out of bed and get to church on time. That's all you got to do, right? You got to hear your alarm. It's like when you think about it, how easy is it for us? But I'm grateful in a country where we can do that. I'm grateful for our medical care. We've got the best medical care in the world. Well, okay, maybe there's others that have, but we spend the most, maybe anyway. We do have some of the most innovative things. I look at what Michelle Oliver's going through with cancer. I look at what my wife, Ginny, and the breakthrough that they've made with combating breast cancer versus 20 years ago. Oh my gosh. I mean, we have been able to be the beneficiaries of all the innovations in breast cancer research, compared to 20, 30 years ago when you have the harshest chemotherapy, and my wife survived as a result of all those innovations. I'm grateful for that. You think about all these things. And so you don't have to go down the list very far before you can get your mind right about, what, Lord, you have given me so much. I'm so grateful for the things that you've done for me, for for giving me so much. The least of, not the least of which, but the most is giving your son, to give me a chance at having eternal life. And I'm thinking, wow, I should really be the most grateful for that, right? And so what am I going to do with that knowledge? What am I going to do with this gratefulness? Well, if he gave you a mission, he wants you to get out of your funk that you're in, and you're focusing on yourself, right? When you think about the funk, it's because you're focusing on you, right? I find that when you focus on other people, when you focus on the mission that God gave you, which is typically to serve your brother or your sister, because we're all children of God, when you focus on helping them, all of a sudden the things that you're dealing with, the funk you're in, disappears. Honestly, just disappears because you're focused on serving other people. And I find when you're in servant mode, then you get yourself out of the funk by serving. And whether it's making dials on the phone, getting leads, reaching out to someone who may need an opportunity like ours to make extra money, when it's reaching out to someone who needs to be encouraged and uplifted by hearing your voice, or the smile you give someone at church. You don't know that someone came to church just in despair. And when you say, hey, man, it's good to see you again. We've missed you. That's a verbal hug that maybe that's what they needed to hear from committing suicide. You don't know what someone's dealing with. Assume everyone needs your kindness. And when you assume everyone needs your kindness and your uplifting voice and your smile, everyone needs your smile, then man, you're serving. You are serving people. And then that helps you get out of your funk. So in this Thanksgiving coming up day on Thursday, before we get there, I want you to think about that. Whatever you're going through, whatever, know that number one, the Lord has you in the palm of his hands, if you understand that. And for that, to be grateful. But write down all the things you're grateful for, like these puppies that you're foster for. I'm going, man, that'd be such a grateful thing. And they're so cute. Anyway, but I love all of you all. And my love is manifested in my service for you and the things that I'm trying to do for you. It is truly an act of love because I want to see you succeed like crazy. I want to see you give yourself away to the business and to what we're doing here. That's why we're here. But giving your heart away, giving your service away, being focused on service, and I think ultimately that will get you out of whatever funk you're in, man. I mean, seriously, it always works for me, So anyway, I want to invite you to Patrick Connors. He's got his agency meetings at 3:00, and he's going to interview my buddy Jose Compton, who made 700 dials last week. And Jose's on a roll. He's going to interview Jose and what he's doing. And I would invite you to take some time out, 3:00 Eastern time today, to sit in on Patrick's conference call. It's a conference call, it's not a Zoom. And I will email blast and then to send out on Slack his conference call line, so you can get on there and get some encouragement to hear someone who's gone through stuff overcome his funk by working, by putting the dials in and getting encouraged from someone like that, and him having to overcome some chargebacks, right? And figuring out what he needs to do to continue to work and listen to someone who's in motion. I think you need to hear that and get inspired. It's at 3:00 today. If you can adjust your schedule, be on that conference call Eastern time, 3:00 Eastern, I think it would really help you out. And so I will send email blast that to you all. And so we're not going to do our Thursday and Friday webinars, Zoom calls, but I want you to know that we'll do our tomorrow night. We'll do I'm on the docket for doing our Better Way of Opportunity call at 8 p.m. It's at 8 p.m. right? I've done it a couple weeks, but 8 p.m. Eastern time. But thanks, everybody. I am grateful. I really want to see you succeed. And anything I can do for you, let me know. I continue to work behind the scenes and all the things that we have coming down the pike. But appreciate you, Karen, for leading the way and showing what service is all about. To me, that's just the rocks. What a great example. So everyone, God bless you all, man. I hope you all have an awesome Thanksgiving. And if there's anything I can do for you, I'm just a phone call away. So God bless you all. Thank you so much.